I would now like to introduce to you our keynote speaker, Mr. John Colby. John Colby has been empowering people with improv for more than 20 years. John, I don't know what age you started, but you sure don't look like you could have 20 years of experience in this, but amazing. To help people become better communicators. John has a master's degree in education and is a graduate from the world-famous Second City Conservatory Comedy Program. John's presentation today is titled, Yes and Improving Communication and Leadership Through Improv. Please help me in welcoming Mr. John Colby.
Thanks so much. Thank you. Real quick, before we get started, who has a dysfunctional family? Cool, thank you for your honesty. Dysfunctional workplace? I love that you're looking at your coworker next to you and doing that. Bad news, we do not have enough therapy to fix your family. I don't have enough time to fix everybody that you work with, but what I can do is I can make you better. And I'm going to do that through improv games, like Don said. I've done improv for a long time, but what I learned very early on is as I was learning how to do improv, I was also learning that I was getting better at my job. I was getting better communicating with my now wife, and my interactions with people improved. And I was like, I got something going here. This is pretty powerful stuff. Now don't worry. We're going to be playing improv games, but when I say that, I'm not going to be like, you, sir, come on up, make up a song about electricity, go for it. I'm not going to do that, right? Nobody's going to be, when you think improv, you probably think, whose line is it anyway, and making up songs and scenes. You don't have to do all that. You're just going to be interacting with each other in simple conversations, but then at the end of each one, there will be an aha moment. You're like, oh yeah, and it'll make you better as a communicator, as a leader. Married people, raise your hand if you're married. I am going to make your marriage better today. Single people, any single people, I am going to give you some gold when it comes to dates. So just hold on to that. Before we get started, though, I need to explain the 4 rules of improv to make sure we're all on the same page. The number 1 rule of improv is yes and. Raise your hand if you've ever heard that phrase before. Yes and. I see a couple of you. Man, right off the bat, I'm giving you some great stuff here. Yes and simply means start from a place of agreement and let everyone share their ideas. It's a real simple concept, but it can be a challenging thing to do in real life, okay? So say Mike and I are going to do an improv scene. Don't worry, you don't have to do anything. I'm like, Mike, let's build a rocket ship and go to Mars. In real life, Mike should say, no, you're probably not smart enough to make that happen. Mike, you're right, I'm an idiot. But here's the thing. If I'm on stage and we're like stopped at, no, I don't want to do that, that's the end of the scene. So instead, I want Mike to say, yeah, let's go for it. I'm like, fantastic. Well, we're going to need some people to go with us. He's like, yeah. I'm like, awesome. We're going to need some investors. He's like, yeah. Cool. Now I have a yes partner, but I don't have a yes and partner. I'm doing a lot of work. I'm doing way more work than I need to. So I need Mike to be like, yeah, and I think Don is stupid enough to go with us. I'm like, fantastic. We have a team now. Let's go for it. And you're like, all right, Don, are you ready to go? And he's like, yeah. And I got a buddy named Bob. He's not stupid enough to go with us, but I think he's stupid enough to invest in it. I'm like, perfect. Now we have a team. We have investors. That's what yes and is all about. It's letting everybody be heard. So let me talk about that at work. Are you a yes and person? If I worked for you and I came up and I said, hey, I have an idea. Are you the kind of person that says, yeah, let's talk about that? Or are you the person that goes, I don't know how that's going to fit in the budget. I don't know if we have the time for that right now. I don't know if we have the resources right now. You might pride yourself on being a devil's advocate. A devil's advocate is a very nice way of saying you're a butthole. I know you said watch the language. That's as crass as I get, okay? The idea of a devil's advocate, what you're doing is you're shooting down ideas and you're shooting down innovation. Forbes did a study in 2018 saying, why do people quit? We need to find out why people are quitting their jobs. The number 1 reason wasn't money. By the way, only 2% of people care about money is the number 1 reason they quit. It wasn't upward mobility, vacation time, pension plans. The number 1 reason people quit their jobs is they don't feel valued. The number one way you make somebody feel valued is to make them feel heard. So if I come to you with an idea and you just tell me no, I leave. And guess what? I go share my idea with somebody else. Let me tell you a quick story. I think I'm with my people right now. Who played Atari back in the 80s? Atari fan? There we go. Yeah, some very enthusiastic hands went up. So the guy who invented Atari was overwhelmed with success early on. One of his employees came up and said, hey, I have another idea. I don't know if you want to invest in it or just be a part of it in some way. He's like, I don't have time. Push that guy away. So what I tell you he's going to do, he's going to quit. What I tell you he's going to do, he's going to share that idea or start that idea on his own. He did. He started his own thing called Microsoft. Raise your hand if you know the name of the guy who started Microsoft. I don't see a lot of hands. You should Google it. He's pretty famous. Raise your hand if you know the name of the guy who started Atari. Yeah, that's what I thought. I didn't see any hands. Maybe there's a couple, but I'll tell you, we not only make people feel devalued when we don't listen, we push away those ideas. I don't know if anybody's had to be creative and pivot in this last year, but when we're forced to, guess what? We're able to do some pretty amazing things. But why do we have to wait and be forced to do it? A study was done early in this year and showed in 2020, innovation moved forward 12 years in one calendar year. The amount that we had to innovate when we were under pressure, 12 years in 1 year. So now as the world is opening back up, are you going to go back to 1 year to 1 year? Or even worse, are you going to go back to the way it used to be? If you're the one going, I can't wait till it gets back to normal, bad news. Number one, there never was a normal, and number two, we're not going back, right? So yes and is all about just going for it, which leads me to rule number 2. There are no mistakes. You can't mess up in an improv scene. Let me give an example. I was on stage once with 2 guys talking about the best presidents in our country's history. Right away, I said Lincoln. The guy on my right says Washington. The guy on my other side says Benjamin Franklin. But as he's saying Franklin, his eyes get really big. Some of you are laughing because you remember U.S. history. Benjamin Franklin was a forefather, but not a president. Afterwards, I was talking, he goes, but he's on the $100 bill. And I'm like, Hamilton's on the 10, and he also, okay, anyway. But in that moment, in front of an audience, I had an opportunity to call him out and for a cheap laugh. I could have said, you're an idiot. He wasn't a president. The audience would have laughed, but then he would have been in his head. And you've all been in your head before, whether you're in a meeting, you're hanging out with friends, and somebody calls you out, points out something you did wrong in front of everybody, makes you feel stupid. For the rest of that conversation, you're either mad or you're embarrassed. But you know what you're not? You're not present in that conversation. And if I work with you and we're working on something and I make you self-conscious, you're no longer present. So on stage in that moment, instead of calling him out, I said, you know what? Yes. Benjamin Franklin was definitely one of the best presidents. I looked at the other guy and said, who else was a good president? He pauses for a long time and says, Tom Hanks. And so what we did for the rest of the scene, we showed all these different iterations of what would the world look like if this person had been president or this person. We used the mistake as a jumping point into new ideas. Thomas Edison said, I didn't fail 10,000 times. I found the 10,000 ways that didn't work, which led me to the invention. So yes and is powerful, but it only works if we acknowledge there are no mistakes, and I'll test you on that in a second. Rule number 3 is be fully present. I see most of your eyes right now, so thank you. We all got used to that Zoom world where you're talking to somebody on the camera, but you can tell they're doing this. Or you even hear they're typing. By the way, who's a good multitasker? You multitask all the time. Where are my multitaskers at? No, put your hands down. You're wrong. Research says multitasking shuts down productivity by up to 40%. We are not dual processor computers. You are not made to do 2 things at the same time, and I'll prove it. Have you ever been typing an email or texting somebody and somebody else asks you a question and you say what you meant to type or you type what you meant? Yeah, I'm saying you do that, right? Because your brain's not meant to switch back and forth. So don't multitask. Be fully present. You make people feel valued, and you're up to 40% more productive because you're not. And then the 4th rule is have fun. I'm going to get into it in just a little bit, but I'll tell you, there is Harvard-based research that says people who are happy are more successful at everything they do. I'll give you the stats in a little bit. Let's get started. Everybody out loud, count to 4 with me. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. You were very shy and quiet about that. That was the easy part. I hope your confidence is going to rise. Let's try that again. Out loud. Go. I was afraid some of you didn't know the numbers. This is the easy part. Okay, so now what we're going to do is start counting to 4 over and over again. The first 2 times, we're just counting to 4, no movement involved. We're just getting our rhythm. The next 2 times, we're going to touch our head so you don't have to say 1. It'll look like this. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. The next round is head, shoulders, and you say out loud 3, 4. We'll do that twice. Then head, shoulders, cross. We'll say the number 4. And the last round is head, shoulders, cross, and down. For me, it's my lap. For you, it might be a table. I don't know what's going on here. I'm assuming we're all wearing pants now because we're in public. But when we were at home, did anybody do meetings in gym shorts? Or you're like, nobody can see, right? So head, shoulders, cross, and then down, whatever that is, okay? We are then going to do a second round. The second round is the exact same rules, only faster. My one request, don't just stop. Even if you mess up, don't stop. Just keep trying. Ready? Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 3, 4. 3, 4. 4. 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 3, 4. 3, 4. 4. 4. And that's it. Give yourself a round of applause. Nicely done, nicely done. Next, let me ask, raise your hand if you messed up at least once in that game. You didn't remember rule number 2 of improv. There are no mistakes. But again, we thought we messed up. We perceived a mistake, right? So let me ask, what did you do when you messed up? Somebody shout out, what did you do? Because a lot of you did the exact same thing. Yeah, I tried to keep going. Somebody else said laugh. Somebody over here said laugh. You laugh, right? Good news. There's no bad thing that's going to happen if you mess up this game. I'm not going to be like, I'm sorry, sir, you missed the shoulders. Go ahead and see yourself out, right? You don't lose in this game. Everybody wins, right? Let me tell you, if you and everybody in your organization can have this same mentality of when there's a mistake, laugh at it, and try to keep going, get some help if you need to, but keep going and don't dwell on the mistake. You'll get back up to 20% of productivity that we often lose when we reflect on negative moments or spend too much time. Let me set up a scenario and tell me if this is you. You're at work, You're at work and you make a mistake. Do you just kind of move on, or do you think about that mistake later? It's like, oh, everybody's going to think I'm stupid. You're like driving home, and you're like, that was so dumb. Why did I say that? Or why did I type that? Why did I do that? You hang out, have family dinner, then everybody goes to bed, and you just lay in bed, and you're just staring at the ceiling and go, why did I do that? You wake up the next morning, you're like, you know what? It's going to be a brand new day, and then your brain goes, don't forget you screwed up yesterday. And now you have to see them all again. Does anybody dwell with any level of that? Anybody? Yeah, I'm seeing. I will tell you, a lot of people do, and I will tell you it's real simple in the way that you fix it. Let me give you some psychology on how your brain works. There's 4 steps whenever anything happens. Stimulus, comprehend, analyze, synthesize. Okay, it's literally anytime your brain does anything, it's 4 steps. So like example, I touch a hot stove. The stimulus is I touched a hot stove. Comprehend, I'm touching a hot stove. I probably shouldn't. Analyze, pull your hand away, and you do. We don't go into synthesize for this. You don't go, what would be the long-term ramifications if I left my finger on the stove? Like, you don't need to do that, right? In the analyze step, you need to get rid of it. So when you make a mistake, we need to get rid of it in the analyze step so we don't go into that synthesize step, because that's where your brain says, everybody's going to think I'm stupid. I'm going to lose the trust of that partner, that my employees are going to think I don't know what I'm doing. We get into, let's deal with it in the analyze step. And I'll tell you, you know how to do this, and you probably did it today. Did anybody, and I don't admit it, the people you're around, but did anybody, or have you ever met some new people and like, hey, this is Jeff. And you're like, hi, Jeff. And then you immediately forget their name? Yeah. Here's why. Your brain says, well, Jeff is my wife's friend's husband's friend. I'm never going to see Jeff. Sorry, Jeff. And then it goes away. And then 2 minutes later, somebody's like, hey, who's this? I'm like, oh, I don't know. Because your brain said it didn't need it. So what we need to do when we make a mistake is we need to tell our brain we don't need it and it's not that big of a deal. And here's how you do it. If I'm working with Don on something and Don messes up, I give him grace. I give him support. I'm like, Don, no big deal. Don't worry about it. You know what? We'll send a follow-up email and let him know what happened. Boom. It's done. I don't lay in bed at night going, oh, I hope Don's okay. He's going to be real frustrated. I can't believe that happened. Like, to me, it's gone, right? It doesn't matter. But when it's me, all of a sudden, I hold myself to a way different standard than I do anybody else. So what I need to do is say what I would say to Don to myself, and I can do it one of two ways. I can write it down, which is journaling, or I can talk out loud, which if there's another person there, it's called therapy. But I'll tell you, the number one reason people journal isn't so they can look back years later and see their personal growth. Most people never even look at their journals. It just lets you get the ideas out of your brain, and then you sleep better at night. The reason people go to a therapist isn't so they can fix you. It's so you can talk out loud and hear it yourself. Has anybody ever been trying to figure something out and you go ask somebody, and then while you're asking them, you figure it out? Have you ever had that happen? Here's why. Because your brain got frustrated with it and it went to synthesize going, this is so stupid. Why can't I figure this out? I'm an idiot. You're not thinking of the problem anymore. But when you go back and talk to somebody else, you're now talking about the problem, and now your brain is analyzing it and fixing it. So the next time you make a mistake, whether it's a stupid game like this or it's something at work or something at home, analyze it, talk about it out loud. I do it while driving. Don't do it around people or you look crazy. Okay, but drive, talk out loud or journal about it, and then you will sleep better at night. I promise. You're welcome for that. Okay? So now I need to ask, who are my competitive people in here? You love winning. Man, really? Who hates winning? Let me check real quick, because not a lot of hands went up. I don't know if you're aware. I can see you. Right? A lot of you are like, oh yeah, like you can't turn your camera off. I can see all of you. So let me ask again, who likes winning? Who am I? There, you're awake. Hot dog. Okay, so your table is now your team. Okay, so you will need one writer per team. Okay, I'm about to give you a prompt immediately, like you're going to be the right. Okay, you and your partner or your group, whoever's at your table, you need one writer. You're going to be making a list. I am going to give you a condition, and then you're going to have 1 minute to make a list of as many things as possible that fit that condition. Let me give an example. If the condition were pizza toppings, right away, you could say pepperoni, sausage, green pepper, mushroom, olive, right? But then somebody at your table might say, what about strawberries? And right away, some of you are like, no, don't put strawberries on my pizza. That's gross. But what if it's a dessert pizza? Like you've had a dessert pizza before, right? With strawberries and like kiwi and like cream cheese. Remember, improv is about yes and. So if somebody gives a new idea, you don't know it, you yes and add more ideas. Like, oh yeah, so we could do that. What other kind of pizza? What about that one with like cinnamon sugar and icing? And so you start thinking outside the box a little bit. Yes and, there are no mistakes. Remember those rules as you play this game. Okay? I'm going to give you the condition. I'm going to say it twice. I'm going to give you 1 minute to get as long of a list as possible. Longest list wins bragging rights as being the smartest people at this conference. Some of you are laughing, and some of you are like, shut up, we have to win now. I would like you to make a list of 3-letter body parts. 3-letter body parts. 1 minute, go. I wouldn't yell them out. I literally just heard one from way up here. People will steal your ideas. $30 seconds. You have 30 seconds left. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pencils down. Please close your test booklets. If you were the list maker, I need you to add them up right now. Just count how many you had. Raise your hand if your table had at least one. I just wanted to make some of you feel like winners, okay? Keep your hand up. Raise your hand if you had 5 or more. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. How many do you have? 28. Give them a hand. Nicely done. Hey, give them a hand. There we go. Here's the deal. I told you when we started, yes and is all about supporting. There are no mistakes. They said 28, millions of people are yelling for an audit immediately. I heard the CEO say, I want to hear them, right? So I'm pointing out, yes and as a concept is simple. Yes and actually doing it is hard. Let me help you out. Let me ask and raise your hand if you had any of these words. Did anybody on your list have paw, P-A-W? Fantastic. Fin, F-I-N. Fur, F-U-R. Fantastic. So we had a couple tables who realized I said 3-letter body part, and some people said, what all has a body? Most of you said human body, right? You added a rule that wasn't there. So yeah, listen to everybody's going, oh yeah. Okay. Let me move another direction. Raise your hand if your table or your group had knee, K-N-E-E, or foot, F-O-O-T, or tooth, T-O-O-T-H. Yeah, some of you, I see a couple head nods there. I said 3 letters. I didn't say 3 total letters. Foot, F-O and T, knee, K-N and E. I'm only using 3 letters. I didn't say you couldn't repeat them, but you gave that rule. You added a rule that wasn't there. I will tell you 28 is a fantastic answer. I will tell you, anybody put your hand down before 15? I played this game once with a group of 5th graders, average age 10 to 11 years old. The average group came up with around 15. And the reason is, as we get older, we add more rules. We get a little more concrete in our way of thinking, right? We start ruling out other people's ideas, other thoughts. I'll tell you, we're not done with the game. 5th graders will say neck, N-E-K, head, H-E-D, right? Because I didn't say you had to spell them right. I even told you there are no mistakes. But you know what? We are not done. How many months of the year have 28 days? All of them. You're real quick with that one. How many body parts have 3 letters? Is there a doctor in here? Can somebody tell me, is there a 2-letter body part? I haven't thought of one. So the point is, you could have written every body part on a human, on a dog, on a car. By the way, C-A-R, that's only 3 letters, even if you're playing the real way. On a plane, a body of water, the body of an email, the body of a letter. Any word that could go in any of those, as long as it has at least 3 letters, it's technically a 3-letter body part. But so often, we add rules that aren't there. What we have to learn to do is think outside the box. And when other people think outside the box, accept the idea. Let me give a quick example of this. Does anybody who has Instagram, does anybody have an Instagram account? Follow me. Okay, so my Instagram, it was started by these 2 guys with a background in computer science, right? So they developed this app. The one guy had tried another app before that. He was showing his wife. They're walking on the beach. He's like, what do you think? And she's like, this is really good, but I wouldn't post on here. He's like, what do you mean? That's the whole point. You take a picture and then instantly upload it? That's the whole point. She's like, but these pictures are really good. I wouldn't want to compare my stuff. He said, well, for the app, we use some professional photographers. They use all sorts of filters. So the wife said, then your app should have filters. If you use Instagram, you know Instagram is what it is, because I can take a picture of my ugly self and then swipe over until my wrinkles are gone and my gray hair is gone, and I put like a nicer fade color to it, whatever. All these different things. But when the wife told the husband, you should put filters on your app, he could have easily said, no, you don't get it. That's not what we're doing. That's not what this is. Have you ever done that when you're sharing your ideas with a friend or a spouse or somebody outside of your organization, and they give you an idea and you immediately dismiss it? No, you don't get it. You don't understand the complexity of what we're dealing with. I'll tell you, that's a good thing. So often we get so in our mind about the way things are, what a 3-letter body part means, that we can't see it all. If you need ideas and innovation within your organization, some of the best people to get it from are the newest people in the company. Interns, high school, college, even your spouses, your friends, people in other departments. Go to the sales department, go to the customer service department, go to the marketing department and ask ideas that are outside of what they usually do. And they can give ideas. The question I always ask everybody is, how would you solve this problem if anything were possible? Budget doesn't matter. Time doesn't matter. How would you solve it? And then you get all these creative ideas. It's easier to take a very creative idea and scale it back to something achievable instead of sitting stuck in one position going, we can't do it. We just can't figure it out. Like we're so strapped with different regulations and with different budget restraints, we can't get it done. Yes, you can. You just have to think a little bit differently. If you're one of those people that struggle, I challenge you to write the word paw or neck, N-E-K, on a Post-it and leave it somewhere you see it every day. It's a reminder to think a little bit differently. Cool? I feel like you're getting tired. Can everybody please stand up? Say goodbye to your friends. If you're standing next to somebody, I'm going to have you walk around. I will challenge you not to walk with your friend because it gets more awkward if you do. Trust me. Everybody just start walking around anywhere you want. Just don't leave the room unless you hate me. Stop. Walk. Stop. Cool, you understand those. Those are really easy to find words. What I'm going to do is reverse the meanings of them. So when I say stop, you'll walk, and when I say walk, you'll stop. Stop. Walk. Cool, that's right. Nice and easy, right? For the next one, I would like to say name. When I say name, just yell out your first name. Name. Fantastic, you did a great job with that one. Stop. Name. You don't have to stop to say your name. There you go. There we go. Walk. When I say jump, I want you to jump. And by the way, if you're like, oh, I don't want it hurts my back, my shoulder. Watch, I can do this. And it looks like I'm jumping. Now here's the deal. If you're moving and I say jump, you kind of jump like Mario Brothers and keep going. You don't have to do the fist. It's more fun if you do, okay? Name. Jump. Stop. Name. Jump. Walk. Yeah, you get it. So what I'm going to do is reverse the second two. So when I say name, you'll jump. When I say jump, you'll say your name. Hold on. Did you hear those people that go, oh? Thank you for giving a great example of what a verbal but no word used opposite of yes and is. Okay? Hey, here's a new idea. Okay? You're already making them feel devalued, right? Stop. Name. I love that one because we know who messed up. I love it because they literally shout out their names. Walk. Jump. Stop. Name. Name. Walk. When I say clap, I would like you to clap your hands one time. Clap. When I say turn, I would like you to face the opposite direction. So if you're moving and I say turn, you'll turn and then walk the other direction. Turn. Clap. Name. Jump. Stop. Name. Clap. Turn. Jump. Clap. Turn. Walk. Cool, you get it, so I have to flip the last two, right? So when I say clap, you'll turn. When I say turn, you'll clap. We're yes and you can do it. There are no mistakes anyway, right? Stop. Name. Clap. Turn. Walk. Name. Turn. Stop. Clap. There you go. Clap. Turn. Walk. Turn. Turn. Thank you. Don't go back to your seats. Do not go back to your seats because I'm going to have you do another game while you're standing. I want to point out, though, I forced you all to give me a standing ovation, so I can now put that on my bio. So let me ask. Raise your hand if you panicked and you finally got to the point where you just stopped. It got so hard and you just stopped. I will tell you, we've already talked about the fact that there are no mistakes, but your brain panics when it doesn't know what to do. For those of you that didn't stop and you kept going, how did you figure out what to do even though you were kind of lost? So what did you start doing? Watch other people. It's a simple concept. Watch other people, right? Raise your hand if you are confident and comfortable asking other people for help when you need it. Raise your hand if you think the other people within your organization are. Yeah, a whole lot of hands went up for the first one, not many in the second one. Raise your hand if you're familiar with the phrase imposter syndrome. Okay, I see a few hands. If you're not, you should read up on this. This is very important as a leader. You should all know this. Imposter syndrome says, I feel like a fraud in the position I'm in, and if people realize I don't know what I'm doing, I'm going to get fired or everybody's going to lose their trust in me. It happens in every area because those people that just now joined the company, I don't want to ask my boss for help because then I'll look like a bad hire. If I'm in junior management, I don't want to ask my boss. Again, I look like a bad promote. I don't want to ask the people that work for me because then I look like a boss who doesn't know what I'm doing. All the way up to the CEO, I'm like, if I ask certain people for help, they're going to lose their faith and their trust within this company because I'm supposed to be steering the ship and I don't know what I'm doing. But all that is bull. And here's why. Asking for help builds relationships. Here's how it works. When I ask you about anything in the world, I could ask you, what's your favorite food? Where do you like to travel? Or can you teach me this software at work? Whatever I ask about, when you get to talk, dopamine, serotonin start flowing in your brain. When dopamine and serotonin are flowing in your brain, you now associate the location you're in and the person you're talking to more positively. Let me say that in a simpler term. If I ask somebody for help, they like me more. Single people, this is it. When you go on a date, just keep asking questions. Their dopamine, their serotonin is flowing. They walk away going, ooh, I like him. No, you like yourself, and we let you talk about yourself. But be aware, if you are running interviews or if you're going to interviews, this is a trick that everybody should be playing. When I was graduated college in 2001. I was taught in an interview class, at the end, ask about the company, right? What's your philanthropy mission? What are your long-term goals for the organization? Now they're being taught, what do you like working about? Or what do you like about working here? What's one thing that you're looking forward to doing in your next 5 years of working here? Because they want to get your dopamine flowing because you're more likely to hire them. So it's a Jedi mind trick. Be aware of it because a lot of people already know it. If you don't, people are using it on you. So ask for help. It builds relationships. Not only does it build a good relationship, it opens a bridge of communication between the two people. If you have kids that are in school, stop asking how's school. Because since the beginning of school, people would say fine or good. That's the answer. How's school? Fine. Cool. That did nothing for anybody. Now go play on TikTok. That's what normally happens, right? So instead you say, hey, tell me about something you're learning in school. The kid's like, I don't know, math. And then they try and leave. Like, no, like, what are you learning in math? Like, it's algebra. We're doing the Pythagorean theorem. Wow, that sounds big. What is that? Well, a squared plus b squared equals c squared. And when you have like two sides and you're trying to figure out the third angle, if they feel stupid telling you, but what they're doing is they're building their own confidence in something. If you say, I hate math or I hate reading as a kid, it's because if you spend enough time with a therapist, they could figure out the moment when you started hating it. And we can actually rewire people's brains to like it. When people go into work and they say, I hate Mondays, or I hate Zoom meetings, we have a bad association with them. So rewire people's brains, make Zoom fun. Do something fun or different on Mondays. Quit making Friday the party day. Friday is already awesome enough. Do more fun things at the beginning of the week so people are excited. Like there are things that I work with clients on where we literally rewire their entire sales team to be happier. By the way, when you're happier, listen to this. Sales go up by 37%. Customer service ratings go up by 50%. When you're happy, you're 31% more productive at whatever you do. And if you are in the medical field, you're up to 19% faster and more accurate diagnosing an illness when you're happy. And you're like, hold on. Doctors, like, I get customer service and I get sales. You're happy, so you're more likely to make a sale. But doctors should just know their stuff, right? Let me explain it in a real simple term. When dopamine and serotonin is flowing, your brain opens up. You can learn information better. You can recall information better. When you're mad, when you're frustrated, when you're tired, that box starts closing, and you can't remember things as well. Let me prove how weird this concept is. Raise your hand if you've ever been mad at your child and you called them the wrong name. So if you can't even remember your own kids' names, how's a doctor supposed to remember these rare conditions or these weird symptoms and how they might be tied to something? We need the people in our life to be happy. I'll tell you, when I go to the doctor, the first thing I do, I'm like, you look great. Have you lost weight? What's going on? Like, I want them to be happy. Whenever I'm interacting with the client, whenever I'm interacting with my own kids, I always ask them questions, get them talking. I want everybody in my life to be happy because they're going to be more fun for me to be with. It's going to make me happier, and I'm going to be more productive and happy. So that's our whole goal, right? Let's all just be happy. What I would like to do now that you're standing, I would like you to find a group around you. So hopefully you meet some new people. Get in groups of somewhere from like 3 to 5. So turn around, find a group of people, 3 to 5. Introduce yourself and just chat where everybody finds it. 3 to 5, 3 to 5. If there's only 2 of you, if there's only 2, go join the group and make a 5. Join each other so they can be with somebody. And 3, 2, 1, and that's time. Fantastic. Welcome back. For this next game, it is called Tiger, Martian Salesperson. Everybody, I want you to show me your tiger, and it looks like this. Rah! Show me your tiger. Fierce. If you will now, show me your Martian. It looks like this. And your salesperson looks like this. Hi there. Everybody review. Tiger. Martian, salesperson. Now, everybody right now, no talking. It'll mess up the game if you talk or talk about it in the next maybe minute and a half. Right now, I want you to pick one in your head. Tiger, Martian, salesperson. Pick whichever one you want. Okay? Turn toward your group so you're in a little circle or square or triangle depending on the number of people. Look down at the ground. I'm going to count to 3. On 3, you're all going to pop up showing your tiger, your Martian, your salesperson. You're going to see what the other people in your group did, and then you're going to look right back down at the ground. Do not talk about it. Like I said, it will ruin the game. 1, 2, 3, go. Heads down, heads down. First of all, that was very quiet, and I'm sad of your tigers and Martian and salespeople. Okay, those are not happy tiger, Martian, and salespeople. They are not the best tiger, Martian, and salesperson they could be. Okay, so now you did one and you saw what the other people did. We're going to do 5 rounds quickly in a row, and your goal is to try and match as many times as possible. Again, don't talk about it. You'll go 1, 2, 3, you'll pop up, you'll show if you match or you're not match. You don't talk about it, you look down, we'll do 1, 2, 3 again. We'll try and match as many times as possible. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, go. Heads down. 1, 2, 3, go. Heads down. 1, 2, 3, go. Heads down. Last one. 1, 2, 3, go. Now, if you will, take 30 seconds and talk about what your strategy was in trying to get matches. 30 seconds. Go for it. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and that's time. Let me ask, raise your hand if at the beginning you had a majority, so your logic was join the majority. Right? That one makes sense. Raise your hand if once you had a match, your brain says just keep doing the same thing over and over again because we want as many matches as possible. Raise your hand if your brain said once we have a match, we should try something else and try and do a different one, right? Hold on. That group is always more talkative. I don't know. Like, yeah, I'm trying to justify my... No, don't worry about it. Let me point out, there's no right answer. There's no wrong answer, right? Doing the same thing works. Trying to do something else, again, it's variety. Some people want variety, right? There's logic to both of them. When you disagree with somebody, a lot of times, it's just because you don't understand their logic. Like in this game, when you talk about it, and like, some people are like, well, I just thought we would do the same thing. And somebody else is like, well, I thought we would try something different just to mix it up. Nobody's like, I hate you and you're stupid and wrong, right? But when it comes to religion, when it comes to politics, when it becomes to the way you're moving forward in your organization, we get so stuck in our own opinion that we don't listen to anybody else. I'll tell you, it's the opposite of improv. Because in improv, you can't mess up no matter what you say. But the problem is once somebody makes a choice, we have to go along with it. So if I said, Benjamin Franklin was definitely one of the best presidents, and the other guy goes, no, he wasn't, it throws everything off. right? Everything needs to jive and move forward in the scene, just like it does in your business. So my challenge is, in any area of life, the next time you disagree with somebody and you start feeling your blood pressure rising and you're like, you're stupid and wrong, don't say that. Instead, say, why do you think that? I will tell you, there's not going to be a consistent result of you saying, I now agree with you, right? That's not always going to happen. But what you're now doing is being able to have a conversation about it, because our goal in life shouldn't always be agreement. We need people to challenge us in different ways, but our goal should be understanding. Because once we understand each other, we can normally find a middle ground on most things. So now, if you all will, get in your cars and go to Washington, D.C., and please tell them what I said. Because I don't care what you believe politically, it's a dumpster fire right now. Because nobody's even listening to anybody. They're saying, this is what we want and you're stupid. Like, cool, then we're all in trouble, right? So if we can start, we build an organization where we all listen. And again, that's where that innovation happens. Don't be the devil's advocate. You can challenge each other, but don't right away tell them they're wrong all the time. That's what this improv is all about. If you will, head back to your seats. And while you're heading back to your seat, go ahead. While you're heading back to your seat, I would like you to think about your favorite foods. What are some of your favorite foods? Now, I know when the room was set up, I believe it was 4 to a table or 5 to a table, and then some of you cheated, and you're like 14 to a table. You're like, there's going to be a 3-letter body part game, and we need more people on our squad. So what I would like you to do for this next game is you're going to need groups of either 2 or 3. So if you're at a table with 3 people, don't just exclude the third person. But if you're a group of 4, be 2 and 2, okay? If you're at a table all by yourself, go stand and sit next to somebody else, because the next couple of games, you will be sad and alone if you don't have a friend. Except the photographer, she's busy right now, okay? So I ask you to think about your favorite foods. Here's what's going to happen. You and your partner are going to have a conversation about your favorite foods for about 90 seconds, but you are going to have your conversation alphabetically. And by that, what I mean is, if I want to talk first, the first thing I say, my first letter of my first word has to be A, and then I can say whatever I want. So if we're talking about food, I could say, are you going anywhere for dinner tonight? And then I could say whatever I want. I'm like, I'm going home, and my wife is making Greek burgers, and they're delicious. And if you want the recipe, email me, and my wife will send it. My partner has to reply with a B. Boy, that sounds good. What's in them? And if the third person is in the conversation, they go to C, or back to the first person, they could say, could I also have that recipe, please? Okay, so you're just going alphabetically through. Remember, there are no wrong answers. I literally had somebody in a conference like this raise their hand, and I hopped down off the stage, and I'm like, what's going on? We were on the letter N, and she said, know of any good sushi places? And I said, Phyllis, you're calling me over here for a silent K. I think you're missing out on the point of this whole exercise, right? There are no wrong answers. If you say the wrong letter or your partner says the wrong letter, you don't take it back. You just keep going forward. Alphabetical conversation for 90 seconds. Give me a thumbs up if that makes sense, or if you have a question, shout it out. I'm waiting for thumbs up. I can see you. There we go. Hey, by the way, just a side note, this is just some teacher advice for you. Whenever you ask your team after you give new advice or new information and you say, are there any questions? Did you know psychology proves you're supposed to wait 10 seconds before moving on, but the average teacher, trainer, or leader waits 2 to 3 seconds? Are there any questions? Great, and then you move on. People's brains haven't even had time to process yet. If you wait longer, especially if you're still doing virtual stuff, if you just leave a 10-second pause, you will get more feedback from people. You'll get more questions so people don't leave the meeting confused. That's just a special nugget for you. Okay, so have an alphabetical conversation about food, 90 seconds, go for it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And I would like to pause you. Those of you still talking, you still have things to say, believe me, I'm also a foodie. I could talk much longer about food. Good news, I'm going to give you 90 more seconds. You're welcome. But I want to change the rule first. So instead of just going alphabetically with your conversation, when you start talking again, whoever wants can go first because we don't have a letter to start. In order to reply for the rest of the round, you have to take the last letter that they ended with to be the first letter of your response. So if I were to say, do you like tacos? The last letter of tacos is an S. Sane people like tacos, right? Everybody should like them. Them ends with an M, so my partner would say, man, I don't trust people who don't like tacos. You know what I'm talking about? So you take their last letter to be the first letter of your reply. Let me give you a piece of advice. Don't try and help. Because if I'm having a conversation, they finish talking, I have my letter, it might take me a second. In that quiet moment, you might want to help them by saying something, but if you start talking again, they just have to wait for you to shut up again and then take that last letter. So it's easier to just stay quiet in this. One other piece of advice, if you don't spell well, I had a guy call me over, and he's like, she said some French food, and I know it ends with either an X or a U. I'm like, so was it an O sound? He's like, yeah. I'm like, just start with an O. Like, she's not allowed to call you out on whatever you say anyway. When there are no mistakes, it should be freeing, so don't get caught up in the rule. So whoever wants, continue your food conversation. 90 more seconds. Last letter is the first letter of the reply. The first line is free. Ready? Go. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1, and that's time. Give yourselves a hand. Nicely done, nicely done. So I would like you to take a moment and reflect. Take a moment and reflect on the 2 rounds and think about which one you liked more. Did you like going through the alphabet or did you like the last letter? So raise your hand if you think you like the alphabet version better. What about the last letter version? Okay, so there's always a good mix, but I notice last letter seems to do better almost every time I play the game. So let me be your therapist for just a second. If you prefer the alphabet version, I say this with all the love, you might be a bit of a control freak. Because you like to know what's coming up, right? You like to know what's going on. You probably don't like surprises. You're the kind of person who wants to know where the car is going, right? If you like the last letter version, you probably noticed that you had a more genuine conversation. And the reason is simple. You were actually listening to each other, right? Let's be honest. During that alphabet version, how many of us were going, A, B, C, D, E, F, G? Okay. we're on G, so when he gets done, I'm just going to say, good. And then I can kind of say whatever I want. And then I look at my partner, and they're just looking at me. And I wasn't really listening because I already told you multitasking isn't a thing. And even though you think thinking and listening aren't really that different, they are very different things, and they use different parts of the brain. So now I'm looking at my partner. I didn't hear what they said, and I say, good. I used the letter. I did what I was supposed to do in the game, right? But I have no idea what's going on. Do you play this alphabet game in real life? And by that I mean when you're talking to your spouse, when you're talking to a client, when you're talking to a coworker, are you fully listening to them? Or are you listening to them but thinking about what you want to say next? And a lot of us do it. We're all guilty of doing it. Or you're thinking about something, you're in the middle of a meeting going, I wonder what we're having for dinner. Wait, did I pack my laptop? I'm going to have to go back up to the office. We go through all these things and we're not fully listening. Let me tell you a secret. I play this last letter game in real life and I don't tell the other person I'm playing. And it might sound ridiculous, but what it's forced me to do is fully listen to them. I can't think yet. I'm not allowed. I don't have my letter. So I fully listen. And when they're done, I pause and then respond. Now, I have some people push back and say, that pause is weird. That's awkward. No, it's not. You think it's awkward. But again, nobody else notices it is. In fact, a lot of salespeople say, if I pause before responding, I look like I don't have the answer. A lot of bosses and leaders will say, if there's a long pause, they're going to think that I don't have a response. I need to have a quick response so I look like I'm in charge and I'm smart and I know what I'm doing. But a pause before responding makes you look thoughtful. It's the number one reason people quit their jobs, because they don't feel valued. Just pause. You make them feel valued. The number one reason for divorce is communication. If you want to communicate better, pause before responding. Then you won't put your foot directly in your mouth, like a lot of us do, right? We get so defensive. So I don't know, you might hear an interrupter. I'll be honest, I am. Like when I'm excited about something, when I'm mad about something, whatever. Well, no, but that's not how it is. Like I'll interrupt. I don't even let them finish what they're saying. Again, that's not making them feel valued. So this last letter game has helped my marriage. It's helped me with clients. It's helped me just with my friends, just to fully listen. And what's interesting, one of my clients one time, she's like, I tried this with my husband. We were sitting down to dinner. I realized that we normally interrupt each other through all of dinner. We both just talk. They're Italian, and they just go, right? She said, I waited till he was done. I was thinking about what I was going to say with that letter, and he started talking again. He talked again. I got the last letter. I started to go. He talked again. Finally, he said, you're not saying anything. And she said, I'm waiting until you're done. I want to make sure I fully hear you. She said, he doesn't even know I'm playing the game, and he slows down too. And I'm like, yeah, that's another part of it. Once we can slow down, everybody slows down. If you want to make the people in your life feel valued, listen to them. Even if somebody comes to you with a bad idea that you know won't work. If you say, we already tried that, that won't work. They leave and they don't feel valued. But you could say, hey, tell me why you want to try that. I'm like, well, I'm noticing in our operations process, this is taking longer. I think we could streamline it. I'm like, I love that you're talking about that. We actually tried something similar in the past, but can we brainstorm some ideas, or can you brainstorm ideas and bring them back to me? Because now what you've done is you've empowered them to do something. Does anybody have a squeaky wheel in your organization? And by that I mean that person who always comes up and tells you what you should be doing differently. You know what our company should do? Gives you some advice and then walks away, and they just like, go do what they want you to do it. What you do is go, I love that idea. Why don't you go ahead and give me the first steps, and then we'll see what we can do. One of two things is going to happen. Number one, they're going to stop complaining all the time. Or number two, they're going to feel more valued, and they're going to make your company better. It's a real simple concept. Listen and then give back to them. Again, single, kids, whatever. This is magic. This is magic. I just saw what time it was. I have time for one more game. I have to ask a very important question. Do I have any fans of hip-hop music, specifically like 80s and 90s hip-hop? Cool, I have a few of you. What about boxing? Any boxing fans out there? Cool, I have some boxing fans. The reason I ask are hip-hop and boxing are two areas in life where you can find a career called a hype man or a hype woman. I've been to every old school hip-hop concert, Salt and Pepper, MC Hammer, everybody, okay? They always have an extra person on stage that doesn't get to rap or sing. They're just in the background going, yeah, everybody throw your hands up, right? They're just getting the party going. That's the hype man, right? A boxer, when they're walking to the ring, they have that person over their shoulder going, you're the champ. Nobody can beat you. You're the best there's ever been. Fun fact, at the height of his career, Mike Tyson was paying his hype man $1 million a year because he felt he was that instrumental to his success in the ring. So our last game today is called Hype Circle. Guess what? You're already sitting at circles, so you already have your hype squad. If you are only with 2 people, I would challenge you to join another group so you have at least 4. A hype group of 2 feels weird. So 3, 4, 5. So just join somebody else so you have these big groups. Let me explain how it's going to work. You're going to go around sharing things that you love. Okay, so Mike, think of something that you love, and in just a second I'm going to point to you, and you're going to say, I love, and then whatever you want, okay? So you're going to go around sharing, I love blank, and then everybody in the group is going to be their hype man for 1 to 2 seconds, or hype woman for 1 to 2 seconds. All right, Mike, nice and loud.
I like wine.
Yeah, I love wine, that's amazing. That's a hype man, okay? Mike, say that same sentence again.
I like wine.
Nice. That's not a hype man, okay? And I joke with it, but I'm telling you, so often in life, you think you're being supportive of your family, of your employees, of your team, of your clients, but you're not. You're just acknowledging that they spoke. When somebody shares a victory, they share something good, you need to celebrate with them, okay? And let me tell you one other rule about being a hype man or a hype woman. You have no personal opinion. So while we're in this hype circle, if somebody in your group is like, I love cats. Let's be honest, whether we're talking about the animal or the Broadway musical, they're not great. But in hype circle mentality, if they love it, you love it for them. Okay, you get to say, yeah, cats, I'm glad you love that. They're good for you, that's awesome, and you cheer. Okay, you don't get to yuck their yum. Okay, if they like it, if you're the person on the internet who, when I'm like, I saw this movie, and you leave a comment that says, I didn't like it. Everybody hates you, okay? Even people who also didn't like it don't like you because you're adding negative into the world. I already told you all the things that happen that are better when people are happy, but when you see negativity, it brings you down. According to psychology research at Harvard, it takes 5 positive things to interact every 1 negative thing. If you've struggled mentally over the last year, there's a really good reason why. There was a whole lot of negative going on in a lot of areas, and we don't necessarily focus on the positive. Even people who are having positive experiences felt bad bragging about it while so many people were suffering challenges, so they didn't want to share it. So we have to find positive, and we have to celebrate the positive. So think right now of foods you like, of places you like to travel, actors, singers, things that you love. I'm going to give you 1 minute. You're just going to go around the circle saying, I love blank. Everybody else in your circle claps for it. I love blank. Everybody just go around. You'll hopefully get to go at least 3 times, but get loud. Have fun. Here we go. Turn toward your group. Hype them up. Hold on. Freeze. Hold on. Everybody stop. Hold on. We're not done with the minute yet. I stopped you. I'm not even on stage right now. Sorry, camera people. I know this is awkward. The lighting is bad. Look, I'm all shadowy. I have to complain. Like, if you like sports and you go to sports and cheer like you're cheering right now, your team is not going to win. Right? Somebody was like, I love cars, and everybody's like, yeah. Like, man, that's not hype. That's polite clapping. Okay, that's what you do like golf. And they're like, no, but don't get too excited. Like, if you want to stand up, if you want to bang on the table, try not to spill drinks. But we have about 30 seconds left. Flip the table, sir. I saw it. Flip, right? 30 seconds left. Go crazy. And I promise you, there's a reason to this. Keep going. 30 seconds. 3, 2, 1, and that's time. And that's time. Hey, that's what yes and is. Yes and isn't just, okay, we'll listen to it, but we didn't like the idea. Yes and is how you feel right now. If you work in an organization, if you live in a household where people have this, somebody comes in, shares something, we celebrate it, somebody has a new idea, we explore it, people feel like they matter and they will run through walls. If somebody makes a mistake, we can acknowledge a mistake without calling out the person. It's all about celebrating. So let's hear it for you. Good job, everybody. Thanks so much. Yeah, I expected a louder cheer from everybody after that.